Happy Canada Day, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Racing here at Woodbine Mohawk Park. No rest for the wicked, no rest if you're in the horse industry. We're going to celebrate our Canada Day here at the racetrack with a 10-pack here this evening, and it's going to be a busy week, busy day, but a busy week as well. And you and I, Randy Waples, my co-host, the Hall of Famer, no rest for us either. We're going to, be here to guide you through the 10-pack. No rest for Chad either. He's in to call.
This is a holiday.
It's a holiday, yeah. But you know what? We consider every day we're here a holiday,
That's
pretty
it.
much. But
exactly.
It's quite a grind.
I think when you're involved in the horse business in any way, you just don't get holidays.
There's no such thing.
No holidays.
I'm learning that quickly.
Yes,
no holidays
yes. I'll bet
whatsoever.
you do. You got about 4 jobs in this business, so I can imagine there. 14-hour days, no holidays.
Yeah, it's best. Yeah. No extra pay either. So, all right. But before we touch on the entire show or the rest of the show, we want to touch on another scratch that just came in. Race 8, number 2, He's Swift, will be a judge's scratch in race 8. So keep that in mind if you're playing some late pick 4s, some pick 6s, and late pick 5. So another scratch there. Not too many equipment changes here today. No. Just a few scratches, a few missing charted lines. But, one 4-horse field, which obviously not ideal, but... Still, we're gonna have. I'm excited to see some of the horses that are gonna make their debuts this evening, though.
I agree, but what kind of a night do you think that we're going to have? Because we had a fast night last night.
We did.
There was a lot. I mean, we had that rain. If anything, you would think that rain really, probably helped this track because we haven't had rain in a while. We've had lots of sunlight out there today. I've seen them already pounding the water to it, so it must have dried out a little bit. I think we're going to have a fast night again tonight. Might not see any 53 halves.
No, what we're going to see again though is our carryover, our jackpot high five carryover plummet to 0 again. It was taken down again last night. So that back-to-back nights it was taken down. I believe it was a 40-cent cost. That's what it cost to take down $9,000. Wasn't $480 for $70,000, but 40 cents to pick up 9,000 and change. I think that's it's pretty damn good.
He singled all the way right to the last to the fifth horse, and then he went too deep.
Yep.
So I mean, he went about as light as you can go. The only way that it would have worked out is if he goes, singles the fifth placed horse too.
Well, the winning ticket obviously deserving to get it done, but you could see the first 2 finishers here, Ricky Resolve and My Retirement Dream. Those 2 really deserved. It sucks that there had to be a loser between the 2 because I thought both of them raced superb in that effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did, no doubt about that. Ricky Resolve, you could see he was sitting on a big effort, even from the 10 hole, and My Retirement Dream, slowly kind of working his way back into that good kind of form.
I'm curious to see, obviously, with an effort like that, when he just never saw a set of pylons, how is he going to come back next time out? I mean, that was a really good fitness test for him, though. I think, and the fact that he responded and kept going forward, I think that's huge.
Yeah, I do too. I think that there's definitely some light at the end of the tunnel.
10, 9, 3, 4, 1, 7. That is the 20-cent ticket, 40-cent cost. That paid $9,500 US. Not bad.
No,
not bad.
I'd take it.
So they're going to have some fun 4th of July now with a little bit of extra walk around.
Yes, I never even thought of that, for sure.
2 holiday here and then holiday on Friday as well.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, we do good by Canada today, but boy, have you ever been in the States on July the 4th?
I will be again on the weekend, and lo and behold, another holiday that I'll be working.
Yeah, so, I'll tell you, they really do it up down there.
Really,
they take it. Yes. They seem to be able to find American flags out of anywhere.
I think I'm coming up with something.
What are you coming up with?
I don't know. I think I just need a day off.
You
sold me. July 4th. 4th of July. But I'm not sure, like you said, I'm not sure if we're going to see any fireworks this evening in terms of miles we're going to see, especially when we have some young horses. But again, just a lot that we're looking forward to, watch today. Like you said, debuts of a lot of youngsters. We're going to see some debuts later on in the week. But we also had some good performances last night, to your point. How many lifetime marks got set last night? Maybe 3 or 4 of them?
Oh, yeah.
We saw Dirty Little Piglet take a new life's mark.
Yeah.
Was it Dahlquist Hanover as well? I think there was a few, but we're going to take a look at some of these charts. And you could see from the 5th race onwards, it was just mostly horses at the 3/4 pole that were on the lead. And Dirty Little Piglet was one of them. I mean, you saw horses like Booming Economy. They went down the road and they just kept going, and some of them didn't stop.
Yeah, and then the earlier race, we seen PL Aussie take us down to 3/4, like in 120 or 121 or something, and he wasn't able to hold on. But it just really seemed like it was a real big time speed show last night.
Yeah, it really was, and a lot of big miles. And it wasn't the case in race number 10, but I think all the logical contenders, or maybe the main contenders, they were kind of coming from off the pace. So some big miles, obviously in some of those efforts. Logan Park, one of the horses there in race number 9, who was able to lead the entire way. And that was a nice little stretch drive we got between Logan Park and Gaines Hanover. Gaines game in defeat, but Logan was sharp, back to his usual self, and Fashion Frenzy, no real estate. What happens if he gets out?
Well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You always want those rivalries. Are we lucky enough that we're going to see 3 take on each other all year? Logan, Fashion Frenzy, and Gaines. But, you could really, you wouldn't be that far to throw Osceola in there as well.
No.
He can make some things happen as well. So, interesting open trot this year.
He's going to be making his way back, and I think he's going to fit this group perfectly fine. We've seen him being able to compete against this group. So, yeah, we've got a nice group of open trotters that we're going to get to watch compete all summer, assuming maybe they don't make their way in some of those Grand Circuit events.
Yeah, and who knows, we might have a potential of a mare's rivalry heating back up again, too.
Absolutely. We spoke about that yesterday as well. So we're curious to see how they're going to progress the rest of the summer, but we're also curious how some of these careers or debuts are going to progress this evening, as I touched on moments ago. But we're going to touch on this card. We've got a 10-pack, and Randy, we're going to start off with some replays because we've got a lot to show.
Yeah.
So we've got to get right to it. And race number 1, I find this to be a competitive betting race. And you can see lukewarm favorite at 4-1 right now, co-favorite. Right Here Hanover, My Friend Jose. I'm going the direction of Right Here Hanover, who's coming off a good second place effort, and you are going with the co-favorite, My Friend Jose. So we're going to take a look at his replay from May 26th, and want to hear your thoughts on why you're going in the direction of the Herb Holland trainee.
Well, I mean, if you throw out the line where he broke his trotting hobbles behind the gate, and Billy actually did a pretty good job. He kept him trotting till the 3/4 pole, and he finally ended up making a break. And but if you go to those lines, this one being the last one, but even the ones before, boy, oh boy, I'll tell you, you want to talk about a horse that's on his game. I mean, just really, really good right now. You can see Billy coming with him on the outside there too. And one thing I have noticed before about Herb's barn, if he gets a horse or a couple of his horses start to race really good and start winning races, they usually keep winning races. He gets them in good shape and they're ready to rock it. Now, he has missed a little bit of time. He's going to get a shoeing change tonight. To me, in my eyes, a positive shoeing change. He's going to go from steel to aluminum up in front. So, trying to make him a little bit quicker. They're going to a bit of a speed shoe. He hasn't raced in quite a while. Why would you go to a speed shoe if you were just kind of planning on taking him back and just kind of going for one, So I'm hoping middle of the gate, faster shoe. Horse that was racing very, very good, had a little bit of time off, I'm going to take a chance with him and hope that he's good to go.
Doug McNair with post 6 with a horse who can leave. Do you think he's going to take back in that spot?
I'm hoping not.
I don't really see it. I think that he's going to want to put this guy in play and give him a chance to win. You don't have to do it. It doesn't have to be a taxing effort.
No.
You can leave out of there and sit a trip, and hopefully you can get there. But My Friend Jose, the betting public seems to like him. Co-favorite at 4-1 there. Right Here Hanover, I thought that was a good runner-up finish, Randy, to a gold colt in Richie Rich.
He's really on, racing very, very good right now too. So, in the we're coming right back into the same class, non-winners of 3 races. So I threw him in for second. I think he's the logical candidate, especially if Dougie comes out of there. You're pretty well guaranteed that Bobby's coming out of there as well. So one of them is going to land on the other one's back would be my guess.
Sprite Sealster, what are we going to see from her? A nice third-place finish in what was a dominant mile by Mona Lishi. But again, provincial campaign, sometimes in these overnight spots, it's a long season, right? So I just don't know what kind of trip she's going to work out. I think she can be competitive. Ungawa, he's racing razor sharp, back-to-back victory. So I think this is a really competitive group.
I agree. Sprite Sealster, I mean, he's going to do with her whatever he's going to do with her. But my guess would be, because she's had the 8, 9, and 10 in her last 3 starts, all going for big money. He had to come out of there with her. At some point, he's going to want to try her the other way. You know what I mean? You don't want to get a hot trotting filly that thinks that every time she goes to the gate, it means that she's going to be pointed forward, So he might take a chance tonight, give her a trip. But look at her bottom lines, John. She's just as good from off the pace. So, he can, maybe slide that one, a nice one in there. And Ungawa, this to me is probably one of the sharpest horses coming into this race. But he's been sharp in non-winners of 2. Now he's going to move up into the non-winners of 3. There is a big difference between non-winners of 2 and non-winners of 3 in most cases, and he draws the outside. He might be good to go tonight. I'm going to take a wait and see on Ungawa.
Yeah, post 9 is going to be tough for me. I think that's why I didn't factor him too highly. I just don't know where he's going to get away. Maybe Paul Alexi's going to leave out of there with him, but we haven't seen them. I mean, I don't foresee that personally. So, yeah, you could go many different directions. We haven't even mentioned Cadiddle, who when she gets a chip, she can be competitive here. JG's pal, sharp effort by him. This is a really tough race to kick off the pick five.
You could go a lot of different ways in this one. You know, Exquisite Taste down in on the bottom. Southwind Milk.
Yeah.
She's really starting to come around again. You know, you could go a million ways in this race.
I think either you have to kind of take out some horses in here, or maybe take a stand on one and see if you can kind of extract some value here in the opening leg of the pick five. But a competitive way to start off this 10-pack here in race number 1. We're going to skip over to race number 2, and we spoke about some 2-year-olds, and that's what we're going to get here. We're scratched down to a field of 4, no rough deal here in this spot. So we're going to get a look at 4 rivals here, 4 freshman colts. We're going to get a look at a bulldog here, trained by Dave Maneri. Randy, I thought that was a solid qualifying effort on June 21st, but we're going to take a look at his replay momentarily. But there's one by Dancin' Lou, DA Let's Dance. I thought that was a fine qualifier last time out, and there's a reference point in there that you specifically are a fan of, and that's why you went his direction here.
Yeah, I mean, 2 McNair horses in here. I'm not sure which one is really more impressive to me, but I do know which one has been racing against really impressive horses, and that's going to be my top pick, DA Let's Dance. That last qualifier finished 3rd in there for Dougie, last quarter in 26-4, but the 2 horses that beat him till the cows come home, and Windor. And both of them have raced extremely well here already. So I think that this is a great reference on Dougie's point here. Windor, Mike Vanderkamp on the outside, and Jody till the cows come home. This horse of Jody's and Carl's win the other day, come from way out of it. Great drive by Jody, but the horse was huge as well. This one cut it out and almost got the job done for Mika Vanderkamp. Dougie stays right with them with the tight lines. Way to go there, Mr. Wizard. I'm going to go DA Let's Dance. I like that qualifier.
Like you said, till the cows come home. When you see the debut that he put forth over the weekend, I think it's easy to like coming out of the same qualifier. I think that was a good qualifying effort. I think it's easy to like that reference point, but he's also got another stablemate in here that we're going to get a look at momentarily. But speaking of Bulldog Hanover, we're going to take a look at the one that Dave Maneri sends out. I believe this was the first Bulldog that sold at the sales this year, Scorpion Sealster, and made a miscue when he got away and floated out early in his debut, in his first qualifier, I should say. But look at Dougie with the 6 horse there. I think that when he angled him out, did this horse not have some go late in the mile? I'm curious to see how he's going to navigate him from the rail, but I'll tell you what, in a 4-horse field, there's no such thing as a bad trip.
No, and to tell you the truth there, he let him, like here he's letting him sprint. He let him sprint coming out of the top turn, and when he let him sprint there, he threw down some pretty vicious speed, and then he popped him into the hole, sat for a bit, and then moved him again. So is this the same qualifier that we just showed?
I think we are going to look at Never Leave Harlan's qualifier right now. So we're going to look at the other Greg McNair stablemate here, which I thought was a good effort. I know Garnet Barnsdale going in his direction as well. It's only a 4-horse field, but I don't think there's maybe one that maybe caught my eye, and said this is a complete standout here in those morning preps. So we're going to take a look at Never Leave Harlan here, and you're going to see he's got some trot there late in the mile, Randy, and I thought that this was a solid effort there in the morning.
Yeah, he's got the Bulldog build too. I drove Bulldog when he was a young horse. He looks a lot like this horse, you know what I mean? He just kind of compact, wasn't really long, but you could tell he was going to fill out to be a really big, monstrous horse, which he did. Yeah, we got some nice ones in there. Scorpion Sealster now. The only reason why I kind of put this one down a little bit on the bottom, because we know the family that this one comes out of. This is the same family as Sorsha Sealster, same family as Stockade Sealster. So big shoes to fill here, being a Bulldog Hanover. But if I'm not mistaken, not as much Stockade. He come out firing, but Sorsha Sealster. I remember when she first come out there, it took them a little bit of time to kind of teach her McClure with Pentland and that, because she come out, she was a little hot when she first come out. And remember, Stockade got hot. And I think that's the biggest thing that they don't want to happen with this guy here out of this family. So there's a good chance that maybe in with the rail that maybe they might give the first 1 or 2 just to make sure that he doesn't get anything, goofy going that way.
I have to double check. I think Sorcha, did she have the 2 starts as a rookie, or did she not? Did she race as a 2-year-old?
I think she raced late as a 2-year-old.
And I think she had a couple starts. I remember she was buried in amongst rivals with and then she lost as the 1-5 choice in her second start, and I think we never saw her again.
Yeah, so, I remember talking to Bobby about her back then or whatever, and he said that the first couple of times he just was going to make a concentrated effort not to get too goofy behind the gate, because he thought that there was a chance that maybe she could get hot on him. And we've seen what happened with Stockade. Yeah. So, if there is in that, like I said, I don't know what they're going to do with this guy, but it looks like right now they're almost making a concentrated effort to race him down in amongst them. But to the same effect, we see that a lot with James and Dougie.
Well, James also said in a post-race interview with Greg Blanchard, I believe, he said, he doesn't, maybe it was with Chad, he said, I don't want to race horses on the lead, ideally, in 2-year-olds, but sometimes, they just feel so good, or you feel like you kind of got to be there. I think, like I said, in a short field, I don't think there's a bad trip for him per se. I think he's going to be able to kind of take a shot late in the mile. If he's good enough to outsprint him, so be it. But
You're
I
going to
think
get paid.
Yeah, you're going to get paid. I think that we're going to get a patient approach, but I think this guy's going to come out of it with a good effort nonetheless.
Yeah, no doubt. Nice little race.
Yes, nice race for a field of 4 there, and we're going to move on to race number 3, and we've got some maidens, and there was a couple horses here that I thought put forth good efforts. Maybe a couple horses finishing ahead of where they were supposed to by virtue of a little bit of, some diciness late in the stretch. But we're going to you and I are both going to land on the same rival here who's going to inherit the rail. Better Talker. Tough trip last time, and tough trip because he had no real estate until very late.
Too late.
Too late.
Yeah, the momentum wasn't there. You didn't go to Surveillance? I put him in for second.
No, you know what? I can't knock the effort. It's just that I thought last week was maybe a spot where you can kind of like him based on the value. Everybody's going to see what we're going to show here in the race. I mean, this is kind of two birds with one stone here because we got to take a look at 2 rivals here. And what do you see, Randy?
Well, I mean, Better Talker's been locked in pretty well every step of the mile. He had made a great move from the 6-hole, busted right out of there, got control, but he's not going to see any air until this is just too late. At this point there, Dougie, he just nothing to do but just to look where he wants to be. And he finally gets that room, tries to get him started up cold, but it's just too late at that point, So I think it was a good effort. I like the fact that he was able to get him into a really, really good place right off the gate. The horse fired out of there, can get himself into a good spot. Got locked in. I say that Dougie is not going to get him locked in this week. I think there's a good chance that he leaves, tries to float him from the rail that he's going to get now a little bit, stay close, maybe get away second, third, but I think there's going to be a remove at some point.
I completely agree. If from the middle of the gate, he left out aggressively, and he ended up kind of shuffling back because a couple other rivals removed. If he left out aggressively last time out, I see no reason why we don't see a remove early on in the mile. Surveillance, though, there are times, Randy, when you see horses who close as well as he did, and he was racing against the bias in that outing, so I thought that was a really good effort. You can't knock it. He is going to get overbet in this spot by virtue of the effort, by virtue of the line. Sometimes you see efforts like that, and maybe guys are going to take a hold of a horse again and maybe race them a little bit more aggressively. Maybe he can handle that. I'm just not sure. I thought that was a good effort off the pace, but I also thought that was a good effort by Better Talker, who has a win to his name, though, right? We can't say the same about some of these other rivals.
The other thing you got to think a little bit about Surveillance. He raced fantastic, but he's 5 years old. Mm. Like, what was keeping him away from the races as a 2 and a 3 and a 4-year-old?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So he comes this huge effort last week there. Is he going to come out of the race the same as what he went into the race? Don't know. We're going to find out tonight. But I still think that he's playable in here, no doubt about that. Really raced quite well, but. This Better Talker, I just think that, he's in a situation with him now that I think Dougie can make his moves because he certainly gave him a very easy one last week.
And a Surveillance, I know just 2 starts, as a 5-year-old now, but I still think both starts were good ones. So I think that he's going to be competitive in this group, I would think. Nova Blue, just no luck for this guy. I mean, we've seen some good efforts from him. He just can't seem to get it done.
Just doesn't seem to want to get there first, but sooner or later he will. He's racing okay. But we can definitely see there's a bigger upside to him.
All right, there's a look at race number 3, scratched down to a field of 6 now. And we're going to move on a couple of races later to race number 5, more 2-year-old action here. Non-winners of 1. We're going to get a nice group here, in group of 10. And something you don't see very often, Randy, the 6-horse switch, top to bottom, pacing bred. Mm-hmm. And he's switching gates here. So he's going to, race off the trot. I thought that was a fine qualifying effort, not one that I'm going to put on top, but not something you see every day as well. Is that something you can recall that happened very often, especially with a 2-year-old?
Not too often, no. But you see it. There has actually been some good horses, great horses that were actually either pacing bred and trotted, and some, trotting bed and paced. Mm-hmm. So it's not completely out of the realm, but it's nice that you brought it up because a lot of people might not have noticed that. So 6-horse definitely. Well named too. Switch. Mm-hmm. We switched his gate.
No kidding. Appropriately named, that's for sure. I wonder if that was the reason for the name change. There. If there was one, I don't know. But group of 10 here. There's a couple that I'm intrigued with, and I think you and I are going to land on the same one. The 3-horse DA Mastermind. I can't knock those qualifying efforts in the morning, and his siblings have done some good things so far, and I think that's what brought the six-figure price tag over at London.
Yeah, his big brother's going to be racing in race 7 tonight. That's Mastercraft. This is DA, Mastermind. And I see that they're bringing in the old Hall of Famer there from the bench. Trevor Henry not going to be here tonight. So Chris Christoforou coming in and driving a few for Kyle Bossens tonight. And I like this one here. I mean, I think Chris is picking himself up a really, really live drive. Trevor does everything right by him. His first qualifier, never shows him any air, lets him come on the end of it, only 1 mile and 2.3. And then let's go to town the next week, and here it is. I mean, look at the way that this guy's moving forward. You know, Trevor is, if anything, you could say Trevor's chasing a lazy horse, because every time that he asks him to go, he moves away from Tyler. I think that Chris is looking at a really, really live drive in here, and he's going to be my top pick. But this one horse kind of an interesting individual too, because this barn that he comes out of, Danny Legacy, you want to talk about a guy that can have 2-year-olds ready early and ready for big opportunities or whatever. This Danny Legacy, he can. So I'm going to throw Raucus in for second, but I don't like him as much because of the rail.
I think it's interesting, though, you bring up Raucus. DA Mastermind, I think you can't knock those efforts. I think he's going to take the bulk of the support. He'll be tough to beat if he replicates those efforts. Raucus, though, I mean, he got away cleanly in both those tries. You could see James had a decent hold of him up the inside. But now they're adding trotting hopples. So maybe they feel like maybe that's a piece of equipment is going to kind of help this guy motor home a little bit better. And Louis had his choice over a couple. He never qualified Raucus. He qualified the Conqueror. He's opting to go to the rail starter. So Garnet Barnsdale on this $50,000 Harrisburg buy. I think that this one's going to draw. I think this one's going to maybe turn some heads a little bit, and I think this is one to monitor.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that there too. And the other thing too is Calgary Morning. You know, 15 to 1 morning line from the 10 hole. James McDonald down. Matt Bax qualified this one. James going to drive this one. James picks this one over what looked like to be another, you know, kind of a decent kind of a horse in there as well. So it'd be interesting to see what he does with Calgary Morning. I threw him in for third.
Yeah, I have her in for second, I believe. I'm really intrigued to see what she's
going
to do. Outside draw or not.
Yeah, and he's driving another one for Matt Bax tonight too that looks pretty live as well.
She does look pretty live, and we're going to touch on that rival just now in race number 6. And speaking of the other Bax rival, One Bell, a homebred for Al Lepfield, and I think this is, I thought that was a really, really nice morning prep, Randy. I love the way that she was moving late in the mile. One lone qualifier on June 12th. Doesn't worry me that we just got the one charted line there. If we see the morning effort there that we can show on screen, plenty of reason to believe that she's ready to rock here at first asking.
I agree. I mean, 27 flat, John, for a 2-year-old trotting filly. First time she's ever, you know, on a charted line. I mean, that's amazing. I mean, really, when you think about it, where do you go from here? But here's Matt, you know, doing another great job with his young pupils. You know, God, he does a really, really good job in the morning with these horses. He's never doing anything that he shouldn't. Always seems like he's got some go on the end of it. They always doing well. You know, she's emptying out, looks like there right now. But yeah, good movement. Look at the trotting, the way she's trotting, and no body language by Matt Bax at all. So I think she's going to be very live. But there's a couple of other ones in here, and the one that I'm going to concentrate, Greg McNair again comes in here with 2 real nice solid entries in here. Dougie going to go with Cher Hill, but I'm going to concentrate again on Barbara May. This is the other qualifier there. Now her again coming out of a decent kind of a family, and you know, I like the way the ground that she makes up. I mean, at the half, she's sitting third by 11.5 lengths, and she ends up winning this race by multiple lengths. I mean, look at her coming down here. I mean, at no point did she give up, and I love the way that she just keeps moving forward, you know. Nothing special or anything, but at this point of the mile, you would think after making up all that ground, she'd be showing a little bit of weakness, but she's not. She's just powering straight on through. So I think that Louis Waugh is picking himself up a fairly live drive in here, but the 4-horse One Bell, the way that I'm going to do it. You?
She had some. I went to a One Bell as well. I just loved what I saw in that morning prep. I think good draw to work with. I think it's going to be tough to fend her off if she's within striking distance. But Barbara May, those are some quick panels put up by some 2-year-old trotting fillies in that morning prep. I thought she trotted home nicely in that back half. I thought she showed interest wanting to do it. But Doug's going to book off for the Tom Hill homebred, Cher Hill. So you know, I thought she was moving well in that qualifying effort. She was she bolted out of there. You know, tough to really tell at this stage maybe who's better or maybe who's far advanced. We saw Dougie up to 1 Greg McNair trainee last night. but the other one ended up being Racing
better
Better.
one,
So
yeah.
it's kind of tough to tell maybe who's going to have the edge here. But to your point, I mean, Doug can likely race or get the drive on either one of them whenever he wants to. So,
Yeah, I think so. You know, I mean, any owner or I'm sure Doug's father there would be quite happy to have him along for the ride.
And he's done some. I mean, him and Tom Hill have paired up for some great wins as well. So, you know, Tom Hill obviously breeds some quality horses, and we're going to see if the starter of Muscle Mass is going to, you know, be one to look out for Mr. Hill.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we're going to fast forward to the next race, race number 7, and you spoke about Mastercraft. So we're going to see a couple of siblings compete here on this 10-pack. And the 5-horse Mastercraft, he's also going to be picking up Chris Christopher here as well. A little bit of well, he was a judge's scratch on June 23rd, so he hasn't raced in a couple weeks. But this is one when he's on his game, Randy. He should be able to be competitive in this bunch. I tell you one, he was going to be in the preferred. That was likely wasn't going to be a factor in that spot, though, Randy, I'd say, because the field, I think, was a little bit too tough for his liking. I think he hooks a group that he should be able to be competitive with in this spot. And we're going to look at his last effort here on June 16th.
Yeah, I mean, he was racing so well up till missing, you know, and he was scratched for weather. It wasn't sickness. It wasn't, you know, he should be able to bounce right back. But yeah, racing very, very good right here. This is the June 16th where he's ended up finish 4th in here. But I mean, my goodness, Nazy, PL Robert G that he's got a race in against here again tonight, and Eden on the Hill that has been racing good in the preferred. So I think that Chris is kind of picking himself up another live drive here. I think that this horse would have been the favorite in this race if he didn't have that judge's scratch in his last start, and it was due to weather. So if it's not lameness and if it's not sickness, there's no reason why Kyle Boston's couldn't have went out and got a fast mile into him, you know, got a little bit of work into him, or maybe he's just going to race him that way. Either way, I think that Chris is picking himself up a pretty live drive, and, you know, he's very, very good with the trotters.
Yeah, indeed, but tough group, right? Landing on time. He's going to take on older rivals here, and he's going to hopefully hope to progress and build off his 3-year-old campaign so far, which has been good through 4 starts, and he's got big aspirations, a Hambletonian hopeful. Tactical Strike, she was really good last time out, Randy. She stayed trotting, and just a wrapped-up winner for Bobby.
I think she's the best one in here right now, but she's also drew the worst post position as well. And, you know, she keeps, you know, trying to kind of, I don't know if this is a step up or a step down, you know, from non-winners of 9,000. She's not going to hit the older horses, but she's going to hit some talented young horses in here.
Our Peaky
but
Blinders, too.
And our Peaky Blinders is another one, you know. Yeah, you hit them all on me. Did you do anything with Waterfall this week?
No,
because you and I have been passing him back and forth a little bit.
Tougher spot, I think.
Yeah, and now
group.
he's had some time away.
Yeah. One I want to see. Hopefully he can stay on the trot tonight and get a positive experience under his belt. All right, we're going to fast forward to race number 9. Another maiden group here. We've got a field of 7. And I think there's some horses racing pretty well here in this group, though. Randy, the morning line favorite, DA Superglow. Things didn't work out for him last time out. I don't think you can knock his effort 2 starts back here on the big track, finishing a runner-up effort to Shadow of an Angel, and we've seen some ability from that guy in limited starts. And this is one that I believe you're going to go in his direction as well tonight.
Yeah, this is the route I'm going to go. So June the 13th is this race. He had the 9-hole left out of there, huge, and got himself right on the choo-choo. But then, you know, had to make another move around the turn. So this is like about the 2nd or 3rd move going into this, and he keeps coming forward for Billy. And this is at the odds of 30-1. So, you know, it's not like anybody was expecting this big effort. This is a huge effort for a 30-1 shot in here, and he keeps coming at him. At no point is he, you know, he's making Bobby work for this at this point. And, you know, not able to get the job done here, but I'm thinking that tonight might be a better spot for him. So DA Superglow is the route that I'm going to go in this race here. Because the one thing about this race that I haven't really seen anybody that's just like it made me think, wow, are they ever, you know, powering through the wire? You know what I'm saying? You know, they're racing okay, but I don't really necessarily see anybody that. Now, that being said, Carson's Buck and Go has a 2-race win streak at Grand River. You know what I mean? And a couple of times it looks like he's been first over at Grand River for Jason Ryan. So, you know, maybe he's coming in here a little bit better than what I'm giving him credit for, because I've got to see DA Superglow race so many times. But those are going to be my top 2 picks.
Yeah, I think Jason Ryan aboard a couple of live contenders here, shipping in from Grand River. Top Dealer, he was aboard him last time out. A nice rallying 3rd in that effort. My top pick in this spot. I thought that was a really, really good effort there by the John Pentland trainee. And Bob McClure's going to get a chance to sit aboard this guy for the first time during his 3-year-old campaign. Yeah, DA Superglow, he's got a good draw to work with Randy. I think he's going to be able to work out a cozy trip, but I don't think anybody's a lock luck here.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, I think you can go different ways.
All right, there's our look at this 10-pack here and our thoughts on a handful of these races. And can't start off a card without a pick 5, Randy. And you find this to be a little bit tricky, or maybe some question marks, because no singles for you. Not something we see very often, but you're going to go 3 in the opening leg, and then you're going to go 2 by 2 the rest of the way, though. Take us through your ticket here.
Yeah, so actually the race 1 there, my friend Jose, the 6 horse, should be on there as well. Should be 4 deep on race 1. 1, 3, 4, and 6. 6 being my top play. Then in race number 2, I'm going 3, 4 in there, bringing it back down. Race 3, going to go 2 deep in there, the 2 and the 5, and then in race number 4, I'm going to go a 1 and 8 in there. That's going to be Outbound Train. We didn't talk about this race before. Outbound Train, and I'm going to throw Rising Interest in. Gold Blue to me right now has a huge case of seconditis, and I got him in for second, but I don't consider him a win candidate. But I do consider Rising Interest to come back, maybe even with a better effort last week and double up. So that's going to be where I go in race number 4. And then in race number 5, Raucous and DA Mastermind are going to be my top picks.
Yep. Again, I like it. There's a couple other rivals. I think, like you said, in race 4, I do think Gold Blue, he's been kind of tough to trust as a win candidate, but that's the best I've seen him trot straight through the wire in a while, though. But
I've seen the same thing from Rising Interest. That's the best I've seen Rising Interest in a while, too.
Yeah, and doing it off the pace on a night where a lot of horses weren't able to kind of, race him off the pace. So he got it done in that spot there. Okay, there's a look at Randy. It's pick 5 ticket. I'm going to go all in on a horse here in the opening leg, Randy. I like the effort from right here, Hanover. It might be tough sledding for me. If 5-1 holds, I don't think it will. That's a great price on this horse here to kick off the opening leg of this pick 5. 1-4 for me. Intrigued by Scorpion Sealster. And DA Let's Dance. Really can't knock him off that effort. I think that was a good qualifying try. I'm all in on Better Talker. I know Surveillance has a big chance. I'm just going to hope that Better Talker can work out a smooth trip and get the job done. And the last 2 legs I found to be a little bit tricky. There's horses that I do favor. I am going to go with the 3 logicals, 1, 6, 8 in race 4. Like Gold Blue, at some point he might get it done. He's got a good draw to work with, and I think he's got the post to his advantage. In race 5, I think DA Mastermind's the one to beat. I'm intrigued by Raucous. I'm intrigued by Calgary Morning as well from the outside. Hopefully this is one that I think if she can work out a good trip, she might be one that is worth monitoring as well. But no real standouts other than, I think race 3 is the one that I'd say is my safest play. I'm really confident Better Talker will get it done.
Well, I hope you're right. I hope you're right. But interesting first one anyway. But I found the second one to be a little bit more formful.
I think there's some horses that you could probably pitch or toss out in that race. We spoke about some rookies, and we highlighted the ones on this evening's program. How about this weekend? We're going to get our first look at some gold action here in the provincial program, and obviously a couple of bulldogs that are really going to catch the eyes of many, and including bookends there on the inside and the outside. She's a bulldog. She's looked sensational so far through a couple qualifiers. Randy, that's one that I'm excited to see this weekend.
Yeah, there's some nice ones in here. TH Check Me Out. I mean, she's just been sensational in both of her starts. And the other one, too, is this 8 horse, this Brisk Sealster of Jody and Courtney Bishop. I think she's a Century Pharaoh, first crop Century Pharaoh. I like the way she's raced as well.
Yeah, one that obviously we're very, very excited. And Brad Grant, homebred, she's a bulldog who's looked sensational at Gateway in a couple of tries. And there's a look at Saturday with the Pacing Colts and Geldings. And how about Bojangles? We've seen some good qualifying efforts from him. This is one I'm really excited to see what kind of debut we're going to see from him. Borderline Mobby, really good in his career debut. But the outside horse, Till the Cows Come Home, he was awesome.
He was awesome, but again, I go back to the fact that, I mean, he was put in a great spot and given a great drive. Now the whole thing is can he come back and do the same thing but on the outside? You know, really, that's going to be a nice little tilt right there. And then the Vanderkamp horse on the inside too. Yeah, he can lead from the inside too, so maybe we'll get this thing set up good.
Yeah, good group of I think just one division each there this weekend. So looking forward to seeing that, and lots of 2-year-olds that we're going to see compete this weekend. And yeah, I think some of them. I'm curious to see some of those bulldogs and see how they're going to perform on the weekend. But speaking of the weekend, we were supposed to or hopeful to have some Meadowlands Pace eliminations. No eliminations needed. We're going to be going straight to the final with a field of 10, and we're familiar with a handful of these rivals. Randy, we got a chance to see them here locally for the North America Cup. Captain Optimistic at the top of that list. Blueprint, the North America Cup champion, and Madden Oaks. Those two colts who were able side by side there, who were able to provide a memorable, very memorable race in that outing. But There's some other good rivals here. Prince Al Hanover. Who are you looking forward to watching compete on Saturday night or 2 Saturdays from now?
I like them all in there, but I and this is no slight against Andy Miller or anything, but honest to God, I'd love to see Dougie on Poppy's pistol again. You want to know the truth? I'd love to see him get a chance to drive him down there. You know what I mean? He's got great gate speed. You know, I mean, McNair gets along good with him. You know, I find that would be an interesting matchup.
Didn't come back, didn't put forth a really good or inspiring qualifier on Saturday night. After that win in the Open, came back and qualified on the weekend at the Meadowlands. It was not a good mile from him, but you know, something had to have gone amiss because he's a much better colt than what he showed in that outing. But speaking of Dougie, he's going to get a chance to sit behind Prince Al Hanover on Saturday night. He's going to be in the same race as Light Up the World. So we're going to see a couple of nice colts compete. One of which is likely prepping for the Meadowlands Pace. The other one, I believe, is prepping for the Adios in a few weeks as well. So I think that's where Light Up the World is going to be headed. Not sure if he has any other stakes engagements in between there, but you never know. Maybe if with a good performance by Dougie there on Prince Al Hanover, I wonder, I think Todd McCarthy might be listed though when they showed the entries.
I think the last time that they were up here for the NA Cup, Todd McCarthy was listed on him, and then they ended up going to Dave Miller, didn't they?
It was Dave Miller listed for the Sun Beach, and then they had to go to Dougie when they weren't able to make it in. Last year, though, Todd did guide Prince Al Hanover in the Metro, runner-up finisher in the Metro. So Todd might, I think when I saw who was listed, but again, it's premature, it was Todd McCarthy listed. So he's familiar with the colt, but nothing's concrete.
I love the field. You know what I mean? I'm going to love it even more when I see who's going to be driving who.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what it's going to boil down to. It's a pretty even bunch again. I know everybody's going to be looking at Blueprint, but pretty even bunch.
Well, I mean, no elimination, so I believe it's just going to be an open draw. So whoever...
The Wild West.
Wild West, exactly. So, I can't remember the last time there was no eliminations, though. It's been quite some time.
I can't either. That's been
But a good
wild.
group nonetheless.
Yeah, for sure.
Nonetheless. All right, let's focus on tonight, though. We got a lot. We're excited about this weekend, but we've got to get through this 10-pack here on Canada Day, and let's go through your plays of the night, Randy.
Going to start right off in race number 1, John, and that's going to be my beat the favorite. That's going to be My Friend Jose out of the Herb Holland camp. My all-in's going to be DA Let's Dance in race number 2. Waples Watch, Better Talker. I'm with you on that. My plays are 1, 2, and 3, John. And then Worth a Look is going to be Mastercraft, picking up Chris Christoforou Jr. in race number 7.
I like it. That's a great Worth a Look play, I'd say, because I think a lot of people aren't going to be paying too much attention given some of the rivals in there. And I think he could play the role of upsetter. My plays of the night right here, Hanover. I'm going all in on this one right off the bat. Going to hope that he can replicate a similar effort. Rebound, Better Talker. We just need a cleaner trip, Randy. That's all we need. Winning debut, 1 bell. That effort, I think she signaled that she's ready to rock here at first asking. And my best bet choreographer, I think your top selection here, I don't see too much speed in that race.
No.
I think that Jody might be able to just line them up from the
what
inside,
I'm thinking
I'm
too.
hoping that he can go gate to wire. I think he's going to suit this horse perfectly, given the field in the finale.
Yeah, I agree too. Yeah, I think that he's going to really get along quite well with choreographer.
Some other resident handicappers here. Kevin Ploucher continuing his duties for DRF analyst. Thank you again, Kevin. He'll be filling in for a week or 2, maybe even longer. We'll see. Garnet Barnsdale Ungawa.
10-1.
10-1 from the outside, but he's close to that morning line. And Ghislaine Paquette, mini long shot. He's going to have to kind of bounce back with a much better effort here. We know Artful Dodger's capable of more, but we haven't seen it as of late.
We have, but he's in a field of horses that if he does get him through, he's going to get paid big time.
All right, looking forward to it. 1 minute to go here before race number 1 to kick off this Canada Day 10-pack. We'll be back when they're on track for race number 1.